Have you ever had one of those days, or maybe one of those weeks, where you feel like you're just putting out one fire after another? You're reacting all day instead of actually leading? Well, today, we're going to change that. We are architecting a real plan, a system we're calling Fierce Leadership. Let's dive in.
So let me ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Think about your last week at work. Were you directing the action, or were you just reacting to whatever came your way? Were you following a deliberate plan, or just kind of winging it, hoping for the best? So the real question is, are you leading without a script?
You know, if that feeling of just improvising hits close to home, you're definitely not alone. So many of us are put into leadership positions and are just expected to figure it all out on the fly. But that changes today. We're going to stop being accidental leaders and become intentional ones by architecting your personal leadership framework. Okay, so let's get right to it. What in the world do we even mean by fierce leadership? We need a really solid definition here, because this is the first big step in making that leap from accidental to truly intentional leadership. Now, the wording here is so important. Fierce leadership. It's not some personality trait. You don't have to be loud or aggressive. It is an intentional, actionable framework. I want you to think of it like a blueprint for a house. It's a system that you design with one very specific goal in mind: to create the exact culture your team needs to absolutely crush it. And this right here, this is the core idea. Look, a culture is going to pop up in your team whether you do anything or not. That's just what happens. The real question is it the one you actually want? This is all about shifting from a culture that happens by default to one that you build deliberately by design. All right, so you can't build a strong house without a solid foundation, right? Well, for our leadership blueprint, that foundation rests on 3 absolutely critical pillars. Let's break each one down. Pillar number 1, authenticity. This is the bedrock of everything. It's where trust comes from. It just means showing up as your real self, being open and honest when things get tough, and being consistent. You know, your team needs to see that your words and your actions line up. When they see that, they know they can trust you. Simple as that. Next up, accountability. And let's be super clear on this. This is not about creating a blame culture where everyone's pointing fingers. It's the total opposite. It's about building a culture of ownership, where people are empowered and, frankly, proud to take responsibility for their results, the good and the bad. It's that feeling of, yep, I got this, I own it. And our third and final pillar is growth, because any fierce leader knows that if you're standing still, you're actually moving backward. This pillar is all about creating an environment where learning and getting better isn't just a nice little perk, it's a core part of the team's DNA. It's not just supported, it's expected. Now, here's where the magic really happens. These 3 pillars, they don't just stand there on their own. Nope, they're an interlocking system. They feed each other. Your authenticity builds the trust you need for real accountability to even be possible. That sense of accountability then lights a fire under people to grow. And as everyone grows, that just deepens your authentic leadership. It's this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. Okay, so we've got the big idea and the foundational pillars. The next obvious question is, this sounds great, but how do I actually build it? Well, that's what this next part is all about, turning these ideas into a real, concrete plan you can use tomorrow. Here it is, your 3-step blueprint. First, you've got to integrate these concepts. And this part is personal. What does being authentic really mean to you? Second, design your strategies. This is the tactical stuff. How are you going to promote accountability in your next meeting? What's one thing you can do to support growth this week? And finally, you create the framework. You literally write it down. What are the goals? What are the steps? This document becomes your leadership script. And this table just lays it all out, plain and simple. Just look at the contrast. On the left, with default leadership, your culture is accidental, your strategy is improvised, and your results are, well, all over the place. But look at the right. When you lead by design with a fierce leadership plan, your culture becomes intentional, your strategy is architected, and your outcome, sustainable growth. The difference is absolutely night and day. So you've built your plan, you've got your script, the work is done, right? Well, not quite. The final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle is making it all stick. It's all about embedding these practices for the long haul so they become the new normal. The real key to understand here is that this isn't some project with a start and end date. The actual goal is to weave these principles, authenticity, accountability, growth, so deeply into your team's culture that they become part of its DNA. It's when this stuff becomes just how we do things around here That's when you know you've won. This quote right here, this is your new mission statement. It's not just about becoming a fierce leader for a little while. It's about sustaining it, day in and day out, to build and protect that culture of authenticity, accountability, and growth. That's the whole ballgame.
So we've walked through the entire architecture. You have the ideas, you have the pillars, you have the blueprint. That missing script, it's not missing anymore. The only question left is the one you see on the screen right now. What's the very first action you are going to write into your new script?